right, today is July 1st, Saturday, 2023, so they say, and we are going to get into some questions. But before we do that, I got my man Isaiah here. He's going to be joining me today. We've got some testimony slash content on the verge of on the subject of accorded satisfaction. So I'm going to let him come in. See where he is. I see him right there. And I got some questions for him. Allow him to answer those questions. And then, thank God he was able to record a phone call with a specific banker. And I'd like to play that for you guys today. Get your opinion on it, see how it goes, because that might be the same case for you all, those who are trying to obtain some form of discharge, whether that's for student loans, auto loans, mortgages. It could be anything that's considered debt that is accumulated from that social security number as the personal guarantor. So, Isaiah, are you there? Let's do a test. Everybody unmute for a second.
Testing.
Test.
Hello.
Test. Check.
Test.
Test.
Check.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Testing.
Good.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties.
All right.
Hello, nurse.
Thank you all. So when I call on you, everybody should have good audio to come in. All right. So I'm going to mute everybody out again, and then we'll go straight to Isaiah. All right, Isaiah, go ahead, unmute. Good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's always like that, technical difficulties when you got to say something, Always that way. How you been?
I've been good, man. A lot of work, as you know.
Busy. Of course, that's a good thing, but it can be a bad thing sometimes, but we got to take it as a blessing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we're talking about here, because I want to give people precedence, a preface to what's going on. So the order of events, I'm going to go through these events and you just jump in and tell me if I'm wrong or I'm right, continue or add to it. But you got a car loan using the Social Security credit back in the day. You made payments, finally discovered the laws of accorded satisfaction in California, and then you begin sending accorded satisfaction money orders equal to your monthly payments with the restrictive endorsements in that memo section, right? Stating the words payment in full satisfaction of all claims, or something to that nature. And that was going on for about a year. You could have submitted a lawsuit, like right around the first month or up into that third month of paying what's called Navy Federal Credit Union. And, they've been cashing the checks, but due to traveling and other things that got in the way, you knew you wouldn't have the time to go to court back and forth, which is understandable. Then all of a sudden, you stop making payments. Navy Federal closes the account. They route to their internal collection department. And then immediately, they've decided to grant you a 40% settlement on the balance of a little over $10,000. So which came out to be around $4,000 settlement. And then you asked me, is this a deal? Should I take it, or should I just pursue putting together your bill of complaint to sue them? And I said, well, first thing we need to do is check the value of the car, which came to be a value over the remaining balance anyway. So yeah, take the deal. They're giving you accorded satisfaction, in my opinion, according to all of those recent payments. And you would have the opportunity going in the future to still file a lawsuit, because that very first cashing of that accord and satisfaction payment, the bill was satisfied way back then. So if you were to take this satisfaction now, get your title, put the property in trust, and then move forward and do your accord and satisfaction lawsuit based on that first payment that they cashed, I believe you would still win that and receive all of the monies back from that first payment up until, because those payments were given under duress. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, going back to what you said about starting the accord and satisfaction, I didn't see any remedy right off the bat, of course, but I was keeping track of what I was doing, and then you did like a part 2 of the accord of satisfaction, not only putting language on the front but also putting language on the back. So that to me, that gave it more meat and potatoes as far as like enforcement with the language that you had me put on the back. I believe that it would have eventually got to court in general. I don't advise anybody like just stop paying at all. You always want to remain in good standing, but that definitely nudged them to the point of spotlighting the money orders that I've been sending in constantly or monthly. And then I believe it was only 2, maybe 3 months that I didn't submit a payment, and it went to their collections, and that's when they started to see like, oh, okay, well, let's issue this state or the settlement now, so he won't take us to court, because they would lose.
Exactly, because they don't do this.
No.
Immediately when your auto loan goes into default, they're simply getting ready to contract, for repossession, and then they'll go ahead and sell the car. And if there's any monies left over that they were unable to collect at the auction, they're going to come back, give it to you, and tell you to make those payments.
Yeah. In their wording, they try to make it seem like they were being the bigger person and saying that, well, we're just going to count it as a loss, and how about we just give you a settlement so we don't go to court and we don't forfeit any extra monies that you can come after.
Exactly. Well, you guys, we have the audio, Isaiah, if you don't mind, if we want to play that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, we could play the audio of the conversation of what went down between you and the rep within the collections department. And this took place, I would say, about 3 weeks ago. So you're coming up on that 30-day marker where you should be receiving that title in the mail any day now. And
any day
now. So the next point is to go ahead and go down to the DMV and transfer that title over to the trust. Now, if you want to, you can use an entity as the trustee for that trust. But we first want to make sure that entity has obtained tax exemption from the federal, the I.R.S. And I'm not just talking 8832 process with that, because now we would be going off of the exact Constitution when it comes to literary works or religious and charitable. That's right, I'm talking about 501c3 status, just for this trustee to have a specific goal, specific job to take you off of what's called the DMV annual registrations.
Now,
So
real quick, Avery, before you go into the recording, I just want to be vulnerable for a quick second, because leading up to trying to figure out if we were going to file a bill of complaint and initially just do the lawsuit, me and you had a conversation, and you were like, yeah, why don't you give him a call? And immediately I got nervous as heck. I'm like, man, If I call them, they're gonna try to figure out where I'm at. They're gonna try to come just take my car. I mean, not that I was at the point of like paying it, so it wouldn't have been like too crazy. You know, there's some paperwork to get that done, so you know it wouldn't show that I was you know, not making the payments. But anyway, so I was pretty hesitant to call, and I might sound nervous in the recording because I'm thinking they're gonna be like, you send SWAT just to come get their car. And you kept reassuring me. You were like, no, they're not gonna do that. They just want to figure out how they can send you your title. Because upon researching, like, you know, doing the bill of complaint, I was going through my emails and I noticed something that said settlement, and I think I called you within like 30 seconds of seeing that. I'm like, they don't do this. They don't issue this. You know, what is this? And then you were like, yeah, they don't do that. That's a win right there.
Yeah, this is it right here. This is the settlement offer by Navy Federal. And before I read it, I mean, it's on the screen. You guys, they wanted him to call back. They wanted him to respond to this offer, because if he accepts it, then in their mind, they're thinking, well, this bars him from coming back to collect on all of the previous payments that he's given us, which we collected and applied to the balance. And they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. When you look at the California code on accord and satisfaction, you go down to the very bottom, and it tells you right here, notwithstanding subdivision A, the acceptance of a check or draft by a creditor constitutes an accord and satisfaction when the check or draft is issued pursuant to or in conjunction with a release of a claim. And he did it via first class prepaid mail. It doesn't matter, but as long as it goes to the address that is shown for the creditor on the debtor's books, which would be, simply go to Virginia's Secretary of State website and you see exactly where Navy Federal is located. So they can't come back and say he never sent it to the right place, or he never let us know about these checks that were coming to the right address. He already done that. And you guys have that template. You guys know how to put that together. It's called the bona fide dispute. It covers all of these little details, which would give them a crack in the door to get out of it. But we cover all of those things here. So they realized that, and that's why they gave you this offer.
Right.
So,
and I also like to point out that even though all of us in this process, you know, think that we should be able to have everything free and clear, this is just a big of win as if they give it to you free and clear, in my opinion.
well, certainly if the value, excuse me, if the value is well over 10,000, you've got a lot of equity. So if you were to decide to sell this property, you're going to get more than 10,000, and this is all that you submitted.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I like it. I love it. So let's go ahead and play the audio. And please, guys, let me know quickly as I start to play it that you can hear it. No problem.
Thank you for calling. All agents are temporarily busy. Please hold and you will be connected to the next available agent. Thank you for calling the Navy Federal on recorded line. My name is Carrie. May I have your first and last name, please?
Isaiah, still good.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas. The last 4 digits of your social and your date of birth.
4th year, year 92.
Thank you, sir. How can I help?
So I received an email about a settlement of a prior account that I had established with Navy Federal.
I can get you transferred over.
Okay, perfect.
All right, just one second. Now you're not quite sure when you may be clearing the balance.
I'm hoping to get these things resolved today.
All right, give me just a brief moment and I will get you transferred over here to first off so we can see about that settlement, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Navy Federal, Brian on the recorded line. Can I come speak with?
Isaiah, still good. Yeah, I received a email about a settlement and decided to give you guys a call and just verify a few things before I wanted to proceed.
Okay. You know what account the settlement was in reference to?
Yes,
Or settlement offer?
it was the car loan.
Okay. That pulled up a quick disclosure I have to read when I discuss settlements. In regards to settling your account, there may be tax-related consequences. Reach out to a tax advisor or visit I.R.S..gov to thoroughly answer any questions you may have. Now, let's see here. So the current outstanding balance, 10,629.70. Let's see the price of the settlement on. Was it for 4,251.88? Am I getting that number right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that is a valid offer.
So how? Let's say I do decide to move forward. What would transpire afterwards?
So if you decide to pay that amount, we would, accept that payment, consider it settled in full. If you're paying in like cash at a branch office, we consider it settled in full same day. If you're paying from an external institution, it would take 10 business days for us to process and make sure the payment doesn't return. But end result, we count as status as settled in full. And how you would begin reporting it to credit bureaus moving forward. Trying to think. Is there any other specific questions you had about that?
Yeah. What would happen?
This is a vehicle loan. If we have a lien on the title, we will remove that as well.
Gotcha. So how would it work out with the title?
We process a lien release. We mail it to address on record. That can take up to 30 days from the point when we consider a settle in full.
Okay. And I just have two more questions for you. Who exactly would I be issuing the? Because I believe I'm gonna pay it through money order.
Okay.
Who would I issue that to? And can I get an exact email or not email? I'm sorry, an exact mailing address.
For sure. Yeah, money order. The debt's held by Navy Federal, so the payment would just be made to Navy Federal Credit Union.
Would it be in Vienna?
Yeah, I can. So we have a few addresses, and my suggestion would be if you're sending a money order through the mail to use certified mail, like something with a tracking number.
Correct.
So let me get you what we call the express address. All right. So, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the address is 820 Follin. That's Follin Lane, southeast, and yeah, that's in Vienna, Virginia, 22180.
2210.
22180.
Okay, perfect. Big. And what was your name again?
My name's Brian. And then, are you planning on sending a money order in the next 30 days, or?
Oh, yes.
Information today. Okay. So, if you're going to send that in within the next 30 days, I'll put the settlement on there. That way, when the funds are received, it'll credit to the settlement and not the full balance of the loan.
Perfect.
I just wanted to make sure you're sending that in. So yeah, I'll get that set up in the system so it's ready to receive. And then, do you have any other questions for me?
Just to clarify once more, once the payment is submitted and it clears, everything else the account will be free and clear.
Yep. Yeah. And the term is settled in full. We'll consider it settled in full. So
Settled in full.
You'll no longer be the delinquency. We'll no longer be seeking to collect any more payment.
That'll be it. Thanks for answering what I had.
Oh, no, my pleasure. A couple more things on my end. I guess just for quality assurance purposes, can you state the mailing address and phone number we should have on your account?
Yes, it should be 12 here.
All right. Do you have any other questions for me today?
No, Brian, that was phenomenal. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for reaching out to take advantage of that settlement. Like I said, I'll get the account set up in the system so when that payment's received, it'll settle it out. Yeah, other than that, I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Awesome. You as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
But you guys get the gist of it. It was settled completely. And yeah, Leon, we thought about putting in a counter or an offer to that nature. We did that with a prior rep. No go. So this was it. They're not going to go 1 cent below, and it was still clearly below the value of the vehicle. So we took it as a win. And we knew in the back of our mind that we were going to hit them after the fact, after we get the title, and do a lawsuit so that way we can get all of those payments back. So that was fun. Isaiah, you still there? You unmuted? And technical difficulties again. No problem. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you for sharing that audio and the experience and allowing me to help with you on that. Now it says that you're good. You should be unmuted.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm here now.
All right. So you got to let me know and let all of us know as soon as that title comes in that you have it in your hand. And at that point in time, we're going to use your vehicle as the prime example for an up-to-date as of, I guess, mid-July or August of 2023, where we show how to do the transfer into the trust with the proper trustee and how to handle the DMV forms. So that way you guys can rest assured you have your property in the trust, which links to your injunctions, and that will also completely remove the annual registration fees. So we'll show that with this particular vehicle. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
So next thing we'll do before we get into questions, a lot of you have been asking me, what do we do about the back taxes, or how do we begin to file, clean up the potential monies that we owe by using the trust? And I've said in the past, we've been trying to work with different CPAs, and they've seen the laws, they comprehend it. However, they're not risking their livelihood. I understand that. This is information that's completely new to them, and quite frankly, I'm the only one who's presented it to them. So you can see where their way of thinking is coming from. And that's fair enough. So instead, I wanted to take it into my own hands and start doing this process for those that are considered self-employed, those that are considered W-2 wage earners. So I have information that's come in by the I.R.S. for the wage earners, what to do when that happens. Now, I used my brother, right? I took his 2022 W-2 tax return. I decided to file his taxes, use the 1040 forms, the specific way I fill them out, in conjunction with the 1041s using his 98 EIN number for the foreign trust. So I promised him, I said, look, if I can't get this entire tax amount wiped out, I'll pay the bill. Because he set up the trust enterprise, he updated his W-4 where it said no state and no federal taxes to be withheld. So he kept all the money in a special account. And by the way, I had him save all that money in his life insurance policy. So that way it was growing. And in the event that, let's say, he had to pay the tax. Well, he has the money to pay the tax, but he also made money off of it throughout the year. So we're not planning to pay any tax. So anyway, filed his taxes using the SSN and the 98 number to claim all of his income. Because remember, the trust now has a claim to his in legis, right? That's the whole point of that promissory note that we do. And the IRS, they turned around saying, we determined you actually owe a chunk of money. Go figure. I said, okay, they want to play games. So then I sent another correspondence using his foreign trustee this time. And we began to enlighten them on everything that we've learned and talked about within the course. The IRS decided, mind you, they are a collection agency. They decided to send me this. I'll share my screen and show you. This is what they send me. This letter here. This is as of June 12, 2023. Why is an IRS collection sending this over to a private collection agency, someone else? Known as Coast Professional Incorporated. You guys know I've had so many wins dealing with Coast Professional in the past before I started teaching this process. The very first thing I started doing was teaching credit repair. And by utilizing that third-party debt collector letter that's available to you all in the third-party debt webinar, this letter here. We went over this letter extensively. And I'm showing this part of the letter because this is the main big kahuna. This is it right here that they cannot answer. So I already know the end goal, or what's going to happen here. Coast Professional is just going to write this off the books. They can't collect on it. And therefore, my brother has no tax due. And he also has tax forms that is completely filed for the year. So that way he can use that as proof of income. He's looking to purchase his first home. So it's a win-win for him. This is done. They won't even show us an account with them at all. So the IRS themselves, they transferred it over to another private collection agency because they know that they can't collect when the trust is involved. This is off the books. Public debt is wiped. It is gone. Now, in this letter over here, you guys recall this section. Take judicial notice. Let's say right here, it would be Coast Professional Incorporated, a third-party debt collector who's intervening on behalf of, and you would write the Internal Revenue Service. For the account, list the account number. All previously or future mail, email, telephonic conversations, or faxes are in violation of US 26, subsection 6065. It's talking about verification of returns. It's very specific, except as otherwise provided by the secretary. That's basically the commissioner and the Secretary of Treasury. Any return, declaration, statement, or other document required to be made under any provisions of the Internal Revenue laws or regulations shall contain or be verified by a written declaration that is made under the penalties of perjury. This document here by the IRS, including the documents by Coast Professional, it is missing somebody's signature under penalty of perjury stating that the amount is true and correct. They have violated this section and they cannot collect. So if they continue, that is a racketeering case, and that goes up to $250,000. Easy lawsuit. I don't even have to do that myself. I can give this over to an attorney and let them handle it. I think I might. just wanted to share that with you all. So that's something to look forward to. You'll be able to do it. All right, so that's it. That's all I got for you all. So let's go ahead and get into questions. You may raise your hand. Please keep them pertaining to the actual course. And don't forget, tell me exactly where you are in the course so I have an idea of where you're coming from, and I'll be able to help you a lot easier. All right, so we're gonna go to Kim Wheeler, Kim W, I believe.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, how are you?
I'm good. You said to keep the questions on the course, so I'm not quite sure this is the venue then. My consultant told me to call in and chime in, but if I need to wait, I can do that also.
Is it pertaining to the course or just towards your rep?
Well, it's a question regarding our LLC that is underneath the trust.
Go ahead, ask the question.
Okay, so it's actually a couple, but they all kind of pertain to the same thing. We have a high yielding LLC company, and I believe my rep has done the LLC underneath the trust, our DBAs, and so she's 8832'd them, and so we wanted to just ensure that the LLC, in fact, was on tax-free status. And we weren't really sure at this point if we needed to continue to file a tax report or if we have to file a taxes and zero that out somehow and show all monies in the trust. We have not paid 2022 taxes yet. We always file an extension the next year. But right about that time, we came in contact with you guys in February. And so we started this process. So we're not really sure of what steps we need to take at this point. So I guess that's the sum of it.
Okay. Once you begin the 8832 reclassification process for any LLC or corporation that is for profit, you want to wait until you get the confirmation from the I.R.S. that it has been a successful transfer. Until then, you can go ahead and continue to make extensions, apply for the extensions to get that. You should be able to get it, no problem. But I say now it's taking about anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to get that approved by the I.R.S.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to wait until you get that. And once you have that, then you will be able to file the tax, which is going to be your normal LLC forms, in addition to a 1099 miscellaneous for your 9(8) foreign trust. Because whatever you've accumulated on that LLC, it must go to the I.R.S. showing that it was all gifted or owed to the trust as a royalty guarantee payment. That takes the pressure off of the LLC, and it also takes the pressure off of you, because now the trust has to pay you a salary, right?
Mm-hmm.
A small salary. And that is going to not be paid directly to you, but that's where your trust enterprise comes in. It pays the trust enterprise, and you can spend it from that account. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Give it a little time for that to come in, and you should be okay.
Okay, beautiful. And so that takes care of that. And then actually we don't owe any back taxes from previous years. So I guess the trust itself is backdated, I'm told. So it kind of covers previous years in case they try to collect from previous years as well. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is
beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Right. Let's go ahead and go to Fleming. You are unmuted. Welcome.
Thank you, Avery. Glad to talk to you. My question has to do with the accord and satisfaction process. I've already started mine. I've sent my money orders with the proper verbiage on the front and back and sent that in. I purchased the car maybe I guess back in February. And at that time I was only at the sophomore stage, but I knew about the accord and satisfaction process. And I'm now past the senior stage. I've pretty much watched all your videos and got everything set. My question is that am I able, since I don't have the title, and I can't obviously put that under my trust yet because I don't have it, can I still go through with the process of sending them I sent the first letter, then started sending my payments, and I want to then contact them, letting them know that I've been sending these payments and that we need to settle this account. Can I do that while the vehicle is no longer, or is not yet in my trust, I should say?
Can you do that if the vehicle is not in your trust?
Correct.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. So I can still file the suit and everything.
Yeah. So just for everybody's awareness, you've done the dispute. The title is currently just in your personal name right now.
Correct.
Yeah. So you've done the dispute. You sent the money orders out for a couple of months, and now you want to go ahead and try to enforce those payments, and you can do that. The best thing to do is ask for a statement of accounting. They have 14 days to give that to you. And that statement of accounting is going to show all of your payments that they've applied, and you're going to match it up with the money orders that you've taken a copy of on the front and back. So that way you have actual proof from them that they're accepting your check and moving forward out of equity. Dishonorable to the laws of accord and satisfaction. That is your main basis of a complaint in your bill of complaint when you file it with the court. Okay. A lot of times when you send that statement of accounting, they're just going to do the standard day-to-day reporting of it and give you a brief little summary of the account of what, current of the last 6 months to a year. But you never know. They might do what they've done with Isaiah. They might take another look at everything.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty much my question. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Miss Katie Hobbins, you are unmuted. Welcome.
Hi, Avery. Nice to chat with you. I just started recently, as you may or may not have noticed. A quick starter question: where is the accord and satisfaction section? Is that in the which level is that at?
Good question. Let's take a look. Let's go to the actual site here. Here we go. All right. I'll share my screen so you can see it. All right. So if you look on the sidebar here, I like to scroll down to the specialty course bundle. You should have access to that. If you click on accord and satisfaction, you're going to get the bona fide dispute video here. That's the actual letter. And these are, I don't know what state you're in, but I've given some free case laws that you can use when it's time to go to court for each state here for accord and satisfaction. Okay. There's also other videos within this section called the specialty courses right here. Scroll down, you're going to find videos on that as well.
Okay. So on that note, thank you for pointing that out. On that note, my husband and I have submitted, this wasn't something I learned from you, it was from another source, some negotiable instruments that were accepted. And now the financial institutions are pretending as though they didn't get them because I don't think they recognized what they were when they accepted them. Which, if you know how those work, it's basically a margin call, and it forces them to correct their books on the back end, which they don't like to do because they can't hypothecate the money. But they did accept them, and now they're trying to go after us. So once they're accepted, I mean, I think the rest of this seems to be a showdown, unless you have any further thoughts on that.
What exactly did they accept?
Negotiable instrument with uniform commercial code and language on there discussing tender of payment, the HJR 192 resolution, and then there were instructions on the bottom of it that told them how to process it. So if they didn't read it and they accepted it, that's their liability, is how I see it.
I've seen this before. A lot of times those instruments would have wording on the top like certified funds. And what I will see would be missing is the restrictive endorsement from 12 U.S.C. 411, which is the language going all the way back to before 1933, such as redeemable and lawful money at the Treasury of the United States in Washington, D.C., or any Federal Reserve Bank. That right there is very, very key. If that wasn't on the instrument, then yes, they can go back, because your check saying certified funds at the top would have to mean there's an actual transfer of funds from one institution to another. That doesn't happen with the type of instruments that we're talking about. What we're talking about is giving them an actual piece of paper that says, this is tender. If you take it without actual money coming from one institution to another, it is done. You actually accept this as a valuable thing to treasure and hold in your own vault. That's what we want them to do. That's considered a gift to the Treasury. And they'll take that gift and deduct it from the overall national public debt. But if you have words on there such as certified funds, and there is no routing number that's real, and there is no checking number that's real, they can go back. The actual laws of accord and satisfaction would not apply to that, because in the laws of accord and satisfaction, it says you give them a notice saying they have within 15 days to 90 days to correct it if you cash it. Once they go past that, they can't go back and correct it, but only if it was an actual gift.
So it has to have the 12 U.S.C. 411 on it, otherwise it's no dice.
Yeah, it has to have that restrictive endorsement on there. It has to.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, going to Mr. Derek Williams. You're unmuted. Derek Williams, you there? Just unmute your mic. Let me know you can hear me. No? All right, well, put your hand down and we'll come back once your audio is fixed. Going to Paul Phillips.
Hello, Avery. Good day to you.
Hello, thank you.
So I put my house into the trust as you recommended. I quit claim deeded over there. And now I've found out in my mailbox, I have the tax bill from the city wanting me to pay my taxes. I've been talking to my rep about it as well, but do you have any, can you give me a brief overview of how you protest that tax?
Sure. What state are you in?
Massachusetts.
Okay, you want to take a look at Massachusetts and go into your constitution. I believe they have two good ones, two constitutions. I don't recall the year. But when you go into that and look at it, go into the finance or the taxation section and read up on the section that talks about property being tax exempt and what qualifies for that. I do know Georgia's I know Georgia's, I know Virginia's, I know California's, I know a couple of them. They all say the same thing. They're telling you that you need to have a specific trustee to sign off with the quitclaim deed in the trust. If we use the foreign trustee, that foreign trustee has to be present. And a lot of times for us, that's not the case. So the other option to that, like I said in the outset, you can utilize a tax exempt entity such as a 501c3. You may want to create one and get them approved by the I.R.S. using a 1023 form. Get it approved, and then also go down to your state level. Take that 1023 approval on the state level and have them give you or apply for a state sales tax exemption. When you have those two things, you can go ahead and redo the actual, or just do an update to your quitclaim deed. You're going to have a member from that 501c3 sign off as the trustee under that trust and provide those two documents from the state and the federal to your county assessor. Because when you look at your state constitution, it says that property that is held by non-stock corporations, non-profit corporations, they're tax exempt as long as they're operating within what's called literary functions, religious functions, charitable, educational, scientific. I go with literary functions. And this is how I use my 501c3. My 501c3 is based out of Delaware. It's one of the best states. Because if anybody wanted to investigate my 501c3, you first got to get a court order. That's going to cost you some money. It's really hard to do. So it's private. I get the 1023 forms with that 501c3, and I get it approved in the state of Delaware. Once approved, I will go ahead and file what's called a foreign corporation filing, so I can bring Delaware 501c3 into where I live, Florida. I then would go ahead and apply that to any properties that I currently hold. Once I have that, I can now apply with the Florida county or whoever the county assessor is. That's what they're looking for. They need to see that I'm actually participating in literary works. So how do I do that? My articles of organization will tell them that, and I actually would have my express trust to be one of the members that the 501c3 serves. It receives a price to take its trustee minutes and record them or publish them in the local paper. So now it serves as an entity that does literary works. And that's why I tell you guys, all of your affidavits, all of your statements, everything that you do, put it as a trustee minute. Once it's in a trustee minute, you want to put it in the paper. And once it's published, you're now following the laws of the Constitution, right? Remember, it says, we all have the right, the religious right to go ahead and publish our sentiments. That's exactly what you're doing. You're utilizing a 501c3 to publish those sentiments. Then you should be fine with obtaining a tax roll removal for that property. So that's my best advice for that. Until that's done, stay current. If it's too much, you can enter into an accord and satisfaction with the county for that specific tax year. You can do that, or just pay it in full and keep it going until that entity is done being created.
So I've never done a 501c3. Is it fairly straightforward to do?
fairly straightforward. If you want, one of my members, James, he's out of town right now. He's out of the country, but when he gets back, he has a service where he can show you to put that together, or he can do it for you.
Perfect. And then, so I would just modify the current quit claim deed to redeed the house or whatever into that 501c3.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what other properties can you put in that? Anything or other land and other?
Manufactured homes, you can do land, you can do tractors, anything that will actually hold a certificate of title.
Okay, so basically you just modify the current quit claim deed to the new entity.
Yep.
Something, okay.
Yeah, on the part at the bottom where it says who's going to sign as trustee, because I've done this for people in the past where their trust enterprise signed as the trustee for the Foreign Express Trust. So you would just have J. Smith, president of such and such trustee, and then just show the link between that. They need to see, how is this company a trustee to the trust? You just show them the minutes.
Okay. Now, how do I get a hold of James, since he's more of an expert in that?
I don't know how long he's going to be out of town, but I will mention to him that you're interested in it, and he'll reach out to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Avery.
No problem. No problem. No problem. Yeah, I'll have James put his information in the community chat so you guys can reach out to him on that. Okay. All right. Who is Dude? This dude. I'm not unanonymous. Who's this? You are muted. This dude. We know who that is.
Hello?
Hello.
What's going on, man? My name is Gilbert, but you could call me Gilly. How you doing, Avery?
I'm doing fine. Where are you from?
I'm from Bridgeport. I'm out here in Connecticut.
Okay. Good to meet you.
Yeah, my question is about the weed license, right? So I'm erecting a trust and operating as a private entity, but on a public side, it's required to have a weed license. That's a contract. Just like I just got out of jury duty, I had 2 out of the 4 contracts. I'm trying to learn how to operate without having those like very constitution under that contract. You know what I mean? Like all those terms and agreements that you'll be subject to. Is there any way to do that?
No, not with that. You're gonna have to use an entity to do it, not your personal name. I would recommend an LLC or an unincorporated association. When it comes to that, according to the new laws that they've passed on it, that's why they've passed those laws for the marijuana industry, so that they can tax it everywhere they can. Now, you can put together an unincorporated association if you can gather your sources without the state, and put some type of contract together and put some type of membership where those that you are providing the product to are a part of your membership, then they can't touch you that way. But if you use their forms, you use their structure, you got to play within their game.
Now, how about transportation from state to state? Bringing sources in and out of the state. Say I didn't grow in the state, I wanted to bring it from state to state. Because now I'm on the federal level touching that, doing that.
How do you do it? By air, by road?
I would probably think by road, but I haven't considered air yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like what you're getting into, you're definitely going to want to put together a travel injunction. You'll find that in the senior course, put that together and protect yourself. And you can list other property in that travel injunction, such as your businesses, the LLC or corporation. With that, it's going to take a fine-tooth comb to really, really master it and put it together. I don't have to really see your in and out day-to-day business through a consultation.
Okay.
It's going to take some planning.
All right. Hey, appreciate you, man.
You're welcome. Going to Joseph. You are muted.
Hello, Avery.
Hello there.
Thank you for all you do for us, you and the team. For a commercial property that will most likely be sold within the next few years, I remember hearing you say that it's not a good idea to place it, the corporation, into the trust. And I want to say you recommended a land trust. Is that correct?
Excuse me. Yeah, if you're planning on doing investments, like this is a short-term investment and you are going to get rid of it, I wouldn't put it in a generational wealth building trust, such as your foreign trust. Because if you do that, you plan to eventually take it off the tax roll and never ever sell it. But if you do plan to sell it and it's short term and you're going to flip it and do something like that, maybe even offer lease agreements, then yeah, go ahead and put together a land trust and you can have any entity you want sign off as the trustee. I just don't want your name on there personally.
Got it. And does that land trust go into the foreign trust?
The land trust is not going to have an EIN number. It's just an entity that you take hold of property to. So you wouldn't do an entity reclassification process for that. You just got to put together the declaration of trust, assign the trustee. That's all you have to do. When it comes to taxes, since you're going to eventually sell it, the best thing for you to do is a 1033 exchange, 1031 exchange.
1031, yeah.
Yeah. To delay the tax.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I could do the same thing with the 501c3.
Yes, you can.
With the land trust. Okay. And any resource you recommend to look into land trust more?
You could find examples of how to put those together if that's what you're asking, or if you just want to read up on what that is, go to archive.com or .gov and just type in land trust. They're going to give you all kinds of ebooks that you can read on.
Got it. Thank you.
So I found my information on it. And I like to look for the information where the books are published in the 1800s.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Yeah, Isaiah, if you can go ahead and read some of those questions that we got in the chat, and then I'll come back to the hands.
All right. Let me pull this chat up, get some of these questions to you. I think you already answered AJ's question. A question about LLC. Okay, it's from Krista. My only question today is, what would happen if I started in accord and satisfaction before the loan was 6 months old?
Question to do an accord satisfaction process when the loan is 6 months old?
Correct.
Well, does that mean that the loan is paid off, it's done, or it was just a 6 month term? Let's just say it's a 6 month term. You would have to know about doing this thing way in the beginning. So if you just found out about recorded satisfaction, you're in the middle. If you still have a balance, yeah, go ahead and start the process. You can delay the payment process to draw it out a little bit and then proceed to go into court. There's no problem doing that. What else do we have?
I think Joseph was commenting on the accord and satisfaction. He says, wondering if the change in terms agreement included something not allowing him to pursue additional legal action on the previous payments?
The only thing that would prevent him from, they call it legally being barred from lawsuit. Only thing that would prevent you from that is if you did not do a bona fide dispute prior, which means you didn't give them a notice of it. And it really rests on that. That is the only thing stopping them from being honorable or getting a remedy in court. What else do we got?
I think Leon made a statement, or he was just asking. It says, Avery, does in honor mean that a person with this knowledge does not take out debt with a plan to do accord and satisfaction action?
One more time. Read that one more time.
Okay. Avery, does in honor mean that a person with this knowledge does not take out debt with a plan to do this accord and satisfaction action?
Absolutely not. Here's what's being here's the dishonorable part. They want you to take out loans this way. Try going to the bank with your trust and say, I want to get a loan with my trustee. They're not going to do it. They're not going to let you immediately put the trust name on the promissory note. That's being dishonorable. That's discrimination. So you go to the bank and you get a loan, and they don't tell you that they're going to take extra out of the account that you have, which you funded based on your labor that you fund just doing day-to-day life. That's failure to disclose. So yes, I'm going to do this every single time, every opportunity I can, because they're making it harder to actually use your estate as a substitute for the social security number. They only want you to use your estate in insolvency or bankruptcy court to get the money. So until that happens, build your wealth with that number and use accord and satisfaction to close it out. They're the ones who is actually causing what's called the fractional reserve banking by not giving you the choice to do what's right. You have full knowledge of what you want to do with trying to reduce the national public debt, but they're not trying to allow you to do that. So yes, I'm using the accord and satisfaction, knowing that I'm going to discharge the entire debt. I'm being honorable on my end because I'm reducing the national public debt. All right. It's actually
all right. On to the next. This is from Derek. I didn't mean to cut you off, Avery. Sorry about that. Currently waiting on the ABC on all levels. Am I able to record the non-UCC with the current birth certificate and amend using the UCC3 at a later time?
Yes, you can. You can do any of that. But I just wouldn't attach the actual birth certificate to your non-UCC to be recorded in their system. You just want to list the numbers. Okay. They're not letting you do that anymore. Just list the numbers that's on the birth certificate inside section 4 of the collateral. That's all you need to do. Anything going forward, because we're always going to have additional trustee minutes to add to our trust. Life goes on, we accumulate more property, we have more babies, that our babies have babies. We're trading value for other different types of consideration. So we will always have additional trustee minutes that needs to be placed in the county's records. So in order for you to do that, that's going to be a UCC3, a continuation. All right. And we do that
one from
because when it's time to go to court, if we have to go to court, we have something to show through the clerk of court. All right. Good question.
So this is from a anonymous member. It says, I got my affidavit of percentage authenticated by the state of Michigan. What is my next step? I already filed my affidavit of domicile and child lease agreement and child ABC done at the county level.
All right. The next thing is well, if you say you've done it at the county level, I don't know if you mean just the documents by themselves or if you've recorded them at the county level on the non-UCC. I would prefer that you've done it on the non-UCC because those documents are private. You don't give that to them. You only show it to the courts. If you're in family law court proceeding, then that's when you show it. And they're going to ask you, well, why should we listen to this? How do we have record of this? Easy. I referenced it on the non-UCC for my daughter or my son. Here you go. Now you show it to them. And they're immediately going to show or start thinking, okay, your case number has to be called not precedence. We cannot let this go public. So that's what they're going to do.
Okay. Okay, so just for clarity purposes, Krista reiterated, she says, do we have to wait until it's a seasoned for 6 months? Golly, let me start over. Gee whiz. Do we have to wait until it's seasoned for 6 months old to start the accord and satisfaction process? That was my question. I believe it's 3 months, correct?
It's always 90 days for them to actually finish recording everything as national public debt because they're trading the documents worldwide. And it's going from one trust fund to another trust fund, accumulating the money, and also becoming insured over and over and over again. So in order for you to start your process, they tell you you don't have to make your first payment within the first 90 days or 60 days, but you can send it in the very next day. You really could. There's no time limit on when you can submit a payment to pay your bills. And also for those who, and this is a big one right here, when in the heart of COVID, people were doing what is that called? Anyway, they were contacting the bank or the service company, and they're trying to do some type of forbearance. And somehow in their mind, they were told that, okay, we'll give you a 6-month forbearance until you get back on your feet when COVID goes away. And yeah, Frenchie, thank you, forbearance. And they put that amount that you're not paying on the back of the loan, and all of a sudden that amount becomes due immediately in full. And they're like, oh crap, what do I do? So do not let them tell you that you don't have to pay. You have to pay. And it's with interest. So be prepared. So all those months that you may have been saving for not paying because you have the forbearance, you need to put it aside. And it would have been smart to put those monies aside as an accord and satisfaction. So that way you're ready at the end of that forbearance to take them to court. I just want to throw that out there. I know nobody here is dealing with that, but I've been getting some calls about that, and it's a touchy subject. All right, let me get back to the hands. We'll go to Jonathan. Mute it.
Hey, Avery, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good. Hey, it's Jonathan. I want to give you an update, and I got one question.
Okay.
The update is on the situation going on with the I.R.S. The court of satisfaction has started. I was maybe a week late. I had a situation going on with the grandkids, but I was a week late. So my one question is, can I go ahead and send in another payment to catch that up for as the date of the 90 days?
Yes, you can.
All right. Next question. What is a respectable amount to send them? Because I remember in the video, you said they don't deserve nothing.
Well, I would expect to send a total of 10% of what they say you owe in total. So
Okay.
take that total and then divide it up.
Okay. For about how many payments? Just
So
the three?
let's say I owe 20 grand. They're telling me I owe 20 grand. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to pay up to 10% of that $2,000. Now that $2,000, I'm going to divide it up into payments as to what's comfortable for me.
Got you. All right, last question.
Mhm.
The freebie bona fide dispute. Now, I'm familiar with the one that you had in the notes as far as the I.R.S. Now, is that freebie? Is that something different? Because when I read through it, it sounds completely different, except for some of the things on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a base foundation. You have to change it up a little bit depending on who you're serving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you go to that accord of satisfaction civil case section at the very I gave you guys that freebie bona fide dispute letter. Then down below, you have all the states for the accord of satisfaction. I think yours is the first one, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can use that letter. It's perfect for the I.R.S. Just change up the name, last 4 digits of your social, and whatever that amount is, make sure you list it on there that they're claiming that you owe.
Okay, I've already started it under the old one that was in the one for banks, I.R.S, and school loans. I've used that one. That's going out on the 5th, right after that last meeting we had. So I was wondering, should I have to send out another one or just stay with the one I got and continue the payments?
Yeah, just keep it to a schedule.
Okay.
15 to 30-day sequence.
Okay. All right. One last question. There was something that came up between me and my wife. The declaration of trust, should it have been recorded on the county level for the enterprise, not the main one, the first one that we done, but the enterprise? Should that be recorded on the county?
Enterprise? No.
Okay.
Enterprise
how about
does not have to be recorded anywhere. So
how about the certification?
Neither does that. Nope.
Really? Okay, so the lady at the bank was right. Okay, so all right, questions answered for our enterprise then.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, some states are different.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio, they want that. They want you to record it with the Secretary of State, because if you go to the bank to open up a trust account for the enterprise, the first thing they're going to do is look up the name of it and say, oh, you're not recorded with the Secretary of State, we can't do it.
Exactly.
Right? Now that can happen in some states no. If it happens in your state, it's perfectly fine to do it because it's already a public entity. Right?
Okay.
It's a fiduciary anyway, so you can do it. So
okay.
If that's what Alabama is saying to do, then go ahead and do it, but it doesn't hurt your process in any way.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish reading the codes for Alabama, but this came up at the bank when we were trying to start the enterprise, and they questioned the fact that the certification was recorded. Okay. So I'm gonna see on the state code if it does or does not need to be recorded. Because I figured, I'm sorry.
Just do what the bank says. If they're saying it doesn't need to be, then be quiet. You know.
Then I should just be able to give them the DBA also, right?
No, you don't have to do that.
Oh, okay. So
just walk in with a certificate of trust and the EIN number. That's it.
Okay. All right. Because one bank turned us down because the lady, she kept saying, so why don't you open up a personal account instead of this trust account? We never heard of trust. And this was at Regions. And on their website, they even tell you that they do grants, grantor retained annuity trust. But once I got there, the lady did not know nothing about what a grant was. When she seen the certification, everything was foreign to her. I've never seen this before. And I'm explaining things to her the law way, but it was a no-go. And then even for the second time, it was at another bank. It was a fact that the certification was recorded.
Mm-hmm. I've had experience with all of that, all those run-ins. A lot of times you want to just look for a premier banker who works there, someone who knows how to put trust accounts together or high-tier business accounts that deal with $500,000 to $1 million.
Okay.
Do it, no problem.
Now, would the one for the enterprise, would that be an actual business account or a personal account?
Person.
Got you. So we use the Social Security number.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. I think I got it. I'll catch you next month on another update.
All right.
All right. Appreciate you.
All right. Going to Jarisha. You are unmuted. Did I say that correctly? Arisha. Just got to unmute your mic. Going once, going twice.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
There we go. I hear you.
Awesome. It's Jarisha.
Jarisha, okay.
Yes, and I'm currently here in North Carolina as we speak. I have a question in reference to my birth certificate and the actual marriage license and what name I need to be placing on the actual express trust. Am I using the name on the birth certificate or on the marriage license?
You're currently going to use the name that is on the driver's license and the Social Security card.
Okay, that would be the married name, which is perfectly fine with me. Then I have another question as well. I'm clear on that. I have a son that is he's disabled. He's 16, and I'd like to pretty much know, am I just going to do the same process with him, with the actual lease agreement and that finalize that, or is there anything else I need to be focused on for him?
It's almost similar to the process for yourself. It's just he can't have a promissory note like you would. So yes, you would do a lease agreement for him and you'll do a non-UCC to reflect that lease agreement. Also, on his birth certificate, once it is fully authenticated, you need to do a special affidavit of domicile, claim of ownership for his birth certificate. That's what puts the jurisdiction of that lease into your trust.
When doing the special affidavit of domicile, do you have any type of template or anything that can be emailed to me? Do I need to reach out to you at another time to get that information?
If you are a part of one of the plans, anywhere from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or the complete tier.
I'm in the complete tier.
Good. So what I want you to do is go over into the specialty courses, and you're going to find in there the affidavit of domicile. If you want to also, there's another way, go into the freshman and sophomore classes, and I talk about it in there. Okay. And I show it on the screen. There's going to be two different versions, one for the adult and one for the child.
Okay, that is perfect. And will this affect his Social Security disability funds? I'm sure it's like no big deal once I get it all done. I'm just curious, while I'm going through the process, would that affect it? Because he gets special services through what they call CAP services.
Right. No, that will not have anything to do with that. And in fact, if they did, that would be a violation of Title 18.
Nice. All right. I think that I'm clear. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
Bye.
Thanks for joining. All right. Who's liar, liar, pants on fire? You are unmuted.
That's me. Forgive the background noise. I'm searing my lamb.
Okay. Right. You cooking the right?
I just more of a statement than a question at this junction. I just completed my 98 series. Did my enterprise yesterday. But during the process of the 98 series, the agent in turn asked me for the birthday of the sole trustee.
The agent over
have
the
one. I
phone
had to make it up.
asked you that information. You said the agent over the phone asked you for the birthday of your sole trustee, correct?
Yes, I didn't have to fax in any paperwork of the sort, even though I had it ready, standby.
Mm-hmm.
But I got the 98 series.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I just did the enterprise as of last night.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, sometimes they like to throw you off. They try to ask you questions that are not on the actual SS4 form. What I do is just reroute them back to the form and say, I don't see that question anywhere on this form. Can you ask me if you have an updated form? And
Yeah, I did ask them that, and said, oh, we just like asking that question every now and again.
Mm-hmm. Every now and then.
Yeah, I've gotten that question before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured it was a tricky.
It is. It is. Jedi mind tricks.
Mm-hmm. So just moving forward, getting that done so I can get into the injunction on the state and Fed level. They're not coming after me. They've since left me alone, primarily since, well, I actually got into the tax odyssey movement back in '99. They left me alone as far as 2007. However, they will not issue passport. And I'm from Maryland. I had to go to Georgia because Georgia doesn't have that compact like a lot of other states do. So I just recently went down there and acquired the driver's license through them.
I see. Okay. Well, it seems like your next steps is just to continue on with the 9A correspondence letter, sending that out to the I.R.S. So that way you can get your correspondence back from them, stating that your 98 number is off of the tax roll with them. They're going to put it in words such as, you no longer have to file 1041 forms, or as of recently, I believe Frenchie can speak to this, where it's a little bit different. It just say your process is complete. There's something like that. But anyway, you want to have it because you're going to have that 98 number at the top. So that does reference it. So please do that part and get the Express Trust going as well.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy that lamb. All right, going to Jay Smith. You are unmuted.
Yes, Avery. Hello. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks for joining.
Yes, sir. I was originally going to ask about the fictitious business name affidavit, but the gentleman asked, he had asked about the quitclaim deed on his property, and then you taking an exempt organization. One of your consultants, Reggie, and I recently, he helped me complete a quitclaim deed into the foreign trust, the Foreign Express Trust. So my question is, should I wait and do the method that you just described with the 501c3, or should I go ahead and put it into the Foreign Express Trust and maybe do that later? I guess my ultimate question is, putting it into the Foreign Express Trust, the property with the quitclaim deed, does not necessarily take it off the tax roll, does it?
Correct. It's just like any entity, it just provides anonymity.
Okay.
So take it off the tax roll, we first have to ask the question, this property is going to stay in the trust forever. If we could check that off the box, we can move forward. If not, we'll just do any other entity or land trust. So you can still put it in the foreign express trust. All I'm saying is have a tax exempt entity sign off as the trustee at the bottom, because in trust law, the trustee is the one who's actually the owner of the property. So when you have that done and you have that 1023 exemption, including the actual sales tax exemption from your state, you can use those two things to apply for property tax exemption with your county assessor. That's the easiest way to go about it, and still have the trust in control of that 501c3.
Okay. Otherwise, you're paying property taxes every year or doing accordance satisfaction every single year on those property taxes.
A portion, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was it. I appreciate your time.
Okay. No problem. All right. Shubi Yayu, you are unmuted.
Shalom, family.
Oh.
Thank you, Avery, for what you're doing. The question I have is on accord and satisfaction. I sent that out. I even sent the payments for 3 months, going into the 4th month. I wanted to start because they haven't contacted me anything, so I wanted to start the suit. Is it best to go into the county that you're in to sue, or is it somewhere else you do?
You want to go into the county where the property is located. So is this for a house?
Yes.
Yep. Go into the same county where that property is located. Depending on the amount that's owed on the property to be discharged, that's going to determine which jurisdiction. So all you need to do is go to your courthouse and pull up the actual fee schedule and find out which jurisdiction handles certain jurisdiction amounts. That's all you do. So okay. You've done the bona fide dispute, you've done the payments for at least 3 months, going on the 4th month, and now you're ready to sue. So what I would do before you do that bill of complaint, because that's what initiates your suit, I would do a statement of accounting with the bank. Just look up UCC 9-210. And when you read the rules of that, you'll see exactly how you're supposed to make your letter. The debtor has the right to ask for a statement of accounting and is due to him within 14 days.
So you send that to the bank before you do the suit?
Yep. Because you're going to add their results as an exhibit to your case.
Okay.
They're going to show you took all the money, reduce the balance dollar for dollar without reducing it down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how I would word that. I, such and such, an account holder with such and such bank, account number 123456, hereby request a statement of accounting for all payments and transactions for the year of 2023. I have submitted such and such a money order number, this, and that, for this amount, that amount, for this check date, under the laws of accord and satisfaction with the restrictive endorsement, and have given you proper notice of that via a bona fide dispute dated such and such, which you have received on such and such date. Under my accounting conclusions, the balance is 0. Please provide a confirmation of that balance. Sign it, send it certified, next day delivery, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
To come back and say, is it 0 or is it still a balance? If it's 0, you're good. You don't need to sue.
Okay.
If out of balance that they still say you owe, then you go ahead and follow up with the bill of complaint.
Got it. Okay. That was the steps that I needed to know after doing it. So until that's done, continue to pay the monthly mortgage, right?
Yes.
and always stay under duress.
Yes, exactly. That's what you do. And when you file your bill of complaint, you can look for case laws in your state, even in your county, and against the bank that you're dealing with, because I can assure you, someone in the past, with all the way to 1800s, have done what you're doing with this bank. And you can find that case law to support what you're doing.
Okay.
Use BARD, BARD, .google.com. That will help you search for some case laws specifically to what you're doing.
BARD.
.google.com. Real simple and easy.
Cool.
I'll put it in the chat. And you should see it there. Oops.
Now, I think I got that. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the bill of complaint and then work from there. The other thing I wanted to ask you is to change the name, legally changing of the name. I know each county, or each state, or each county might have different forms to use. Is there going to be a template come out to show us how to do it, or we just go with the forms that we have?
Yes. You see, I always like to show my own stuff, right? And that way you guys can believe it and know exactly how this is going to go when you do it. I will be doing some traveling out of the country pretty soon, so I wanted to finalize it once I got back. And then I'll be able to show all of that with the actual results. But I can tell you here and now, when you do your name change, do it in the county or the courthouse that matches the actual address on your license. It's easier that way.
Okay.
Sure, you can be from California and do it in Mississippi, but they want to see that you are an actual resident of that state that you're doing it in. So just let it match up with the address and the license and do it there. And when you do it, they have a packet of forms you fill out. You can fill those out, no problem, but I want you to attach what's called an explanatory statement. This explanatory statement is so important to what we do. It's so important. For me, it says who I used to be, who they thought I was, and who I now am. And that's what you want to have attached to your paperwork, and it's considered to be a part of the case. So you can get an authenticated copy of all of that, use it everywhere.
Great.
Sounds good. Good to go.
Sounds good. Can't wait till you come out with that one.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Thank you, Avery. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Kind of wish we were still doing at least every other week instead of every month, but it's all good. Give me a chance to study the videos.
Yeah, I miss doing that. But we've got a lot going on over here, so we have to do the best we can.
Yeah, I know you're very busy. I see the Zoom call is getting larger and larger.
Oh yeah. And that's good.
One other thing before I go, let you go, Avery. The 8832s, I still haven't heard anything back. It's been almost a year, and I've been doing it every 3 months. Is this just a process we just can continue to go through?
That's very interesting. So a year now, that's a long time.
Yeah.
They sent you anything saying that we need an additional 60 days?
Nothing.
Oh, all right. It's just a matter of waiting. But I want you to move forward as if you already have it.
Okay.
All right. it could be done already in their system. You just don't have the paper.
Right. Okay, I'll continue to do that. Because so far I've gone forward with the do not stop, do not detain, and I sent it off 3 times and got the certifications back. So I'm waiting at 72 hours, see if I hear anything.
Okay, good. That's the travel injunction you're speaking of, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm gonna update, just like I provided a version 2 for the course. The last part I need to do is the version 2.0 for the senior course, and that's what we just talked about: the driver's license, the name change update with the passport, and also the travel injunctions. I started recording my travel injunctions using that 501c3 entity and putting it in a local paper. So I put it in the newspaper, which you all can do. Put it in the newspaper first, let it circulate, and then send the certification of that publication to the sheriff. When I do it that way, there's only really 3 people that I need to send it to: just the sheriff, clerk of court in the same county where he's going to report or have his deputies report to, and the governor. That's it. I do it one time now, and I've seen remedy with the newest vehicles that I accumulated off of that. So I'll share with you guys how to do that, which papers are easy to use for uploading a document such as that.
Great.
All right. Cool. I appreciate you, man. Let me go to the last ones here so we can let everybody go.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. Not a problem. All right. Sean, you there? You are unmuted.
Yes. Hey, Avery.
Hey, man. How you been?
Hey, I'm good. I'm really good. I just have a quick question. I don't know if this is applicable or not, but I have a couple of properties, and I didn't really want to put them into the trust. One of them is a commercial property, and I thought, could I use the trust to go ahead and preemptively place a lien on that property, more than what the property is worth, to just act as insurance against having any kind of an incident or anything like that. If it's going to be open to the public and people could come on there and they could have an accident, well, then they could place a lien against me. But if I already used my trust to place a lien on the property, then it would kind of keep a security for me. Is that applicable?
Is it paid off?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
You can say that the trust received, 100 ounces of gold in exchange for the property, and use that as collateral to put some type of, that'll allow you to do a non-UCC manufactured home transaction lien on the property. And you can see the actual amount, but just put 100 ounces or whatever you want to do. It can even be silver.
Okay, and that kind of allows me to have the use of the trust on the property, but without having to transfer the title and stuff. Is that true, or it's just a protection, like an insurance?
That's true, because when you get a bank loan, the banks, sometimes they do financing statements and they haven't even transferred the title from you to them. They'll list themselves as the actual creditor on the financing statement, like with an SBA loan. So find out that SBA has a financing statement as the creditor, and then the actual debtor name is on there, but the property is still in the debtor's name. So yeah, you don't have to do the quick claim deed process to jumpstart your lien.
Okay, and then if you want to do a court in satisfaction on a property, do you have to have it in the trust to do that, or can you do that as a like if I already had a mortgage on a house, which I do, but I wanted to sell the house, but I would like to be able to sell the house when, like, if I could own it free and clear. Obviously, I'd make a whole lot more money on it doing that.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to have the trust on the title to do a court of satisfaction.
Okay.
Does it help? Yes, it does help.
It does help. When it helps, what does it help do? Is it because it has a different classification of power?
Yeah, just from a jurisdiction standpoint.
Okay.
It's going to persuade the judgment to go in your favor.
Okay.
Yeah, as we've learned that as long as you have the proper and right person to be listed as the plaintiff, then you're fine. You'll get your victory.
Okay.
So if you got the property, it's in your name at the county, and you do a court of satisfaction process, and then you're ready to sue, it's going to have to be the name that is on the property to sue as the plaintiff, and you should be fine.
Even if it's owned by two people?
If it's owned by two people, that's fine. That second person doesn't have to be listed as the plaintiff. At least one of you have to.
Okay. All right.
Well, you're going to have checks coming from your bank account, or it's going to have your name somewhere on those checks as proof. And you'll have copies of that to add in as exhibits in the case. So that will match.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, good questions, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to, let's go to, who it is? Joseph. Joseph, you're unmuted.
Hello again. I was going to ask about accord and satisfaction going to court. Someone asked that, so that was good. Is it true that you can sue for 2 times the amount of payments that you made?
It would be double the face value of the note, according to Section 33 of the National Bank Act of 1863. So if they violate Section 33, then they can be sued up to 2 times the amount. So if you got a $100,000 house, that was the note, you're going to sue for $200,000 as your demand for relief for them violating that section. In that section, it states that they cannot countersign your signature. So how we find out about it is we simply ask them to give us discovery before we sue, obviously. We want them to tell us, did you sign the back of it, paid to the order of President of Bank of America? Yes or no? If you did, tell us you didn't, and make sure you sign off under penalty of perjury, because you got nothing to hide. If you did, obviously they're not going to do it. So that still shows off as some type of acquiescence or guiltiness. We present that in our case. Are we going to get double the face value? Who knows? But you're going to get quite a bit of money.
Does that include the balance zeroing out?
Yes.
In addition to 2 times?
Yes.
Got it. And one more quick one, unrelated, if that's all right. On the UCC, the $9 billion lien that we're placing, was there any way in particular that you arrived at that number?
9 billion?
Mm-hmm.
Comes from when we take a look at the amount of money in the county CAFR accounts. CAFR stands for Comprehensive Annual Fiscal Responsibility Accounts. Every county has them, and they're formed from a trust fund based on your birth. So I was born in 1987, and around that time, a pool of people who were born at that time went into a pool called the Omnibus. And the Omnibus gave us a total amount of money that was pooled within the controller's office or the treasurer's office of the county. And when you look at this figure around the country, it's right around 9 billion, a little bit less. So we average it out that way. You can also look at the national public debt online and look at the clock, and it's going to tell you how much debt is pertained to each U.S. citizen, those that have a United States Social Security number and those who have been naturalized. You do the math, you break it all down, it comes down to about 9 billion or less.
Yeah,
Now,
that's exactly what I was trying to figure out how you came up to that number, and that's what I was doing. Okay.
Yeah, good. You're thinking correct. Now, we all know about that $14.3 quadrillion lien that's out there. That's on the total face of those that are walking here in North America. So individually, if you break that down to see who's responsible for all of that according to the count, I know the number is off because I know the population count is off, but you'll do your numbers and you'll find that it's close to the 9 billion, but I want my lien to be bigger and stronger than what they say. That way my trust has a larger jurisdiction over them. That's called first in time, first in line.
Yeah, that was the other thing I did. I took the 9 or 14 or the debt and divided it by the quadrillion that you just mentioned by the population also to try to figure it out. All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Rob, how you doing? You're unmuted.
Hey Avery, how are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Good. Before I start, I just want to always thank you for your just how you're changing lives out here and how much you're investing into all this. I appreciate you helping me with that promissory note that the county wasn't taking initially. They were asking for a deed of trust, and they basically rejected it. But with your help, just for clarification for everybody, the county rejected it, and then Avery had me send it in with the bond, and they took it, no problem. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, no problem. I'm glad it worked.
Yeah, me too. So I have a couple of questions. Some of them dealing with real estate, and the other ones dealing with my wife and I. So my trust is basically complete without the name change, and then we're getting ready to do complete my wife's next. I heard in a past episode or Q&A that you had instructed somebody to do to have the husband and wife have the same last name for the trust, and then have that marriage covenant trust be whatever name that they wanted. So what if my wife and I had established that differently than you previously instructed?
It's not a big deal. It's okay, because in the Constitution it says that every marriage contract it's not governed by the state. So you can have both of you different title of nobility last names, or you can have the same, or you can keep the names that you have now. If you really, really wanted to, you really could. But I would suggest you guys pick different title nobility names and put that into the marriage contract.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. And speaking along those same lines, so I used our primary residence that we both are on the deed of for my trust, and I could just file hers the same way without doing any trust certificate units or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that there's no complications there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so a real estate question for you. So we have like $400,000 worth of equity on our primary residence. And we were originally going to do the accord and satisfaction to just do that process with our primary residence. But now on second thought, I was thinking about refining and then, signing over at closing. I know you had taught on this, instead of even going through the route of doing an accord and satisfaction, just not even taking ownership of that debt at the closing table when we're signing at escrow. I took notes on that on that episode on that Q&A you did, but with the reshuffle of Mighty and stuff like that, I can't really find it. Could you speak to that a little bit? And would that be a suggestion that you would?
Yeah, get that done the day of closing. It's going to be a little bit of a fight with whoever is closing with you, but it can be done. And it's just that simple language that you write on the front and the back of each page of the document. So you can do it, and then you simply enforce it later. However, if you're going to refinance, that's good. That's really good. I mean, you've heard that saying in business, never be equity rich or something like that. Take it out. Take it out, especially knowing this process with accord and satisfaction, that you're just going to go ahead and get rid of the national debt anyway. You're going to do your participation with that, and you have the actual cash in your bank account. That's probably just going to further and give you more equity if you're doing it correctly. So accord and satisfaction is always the best play here for the true remedy to actual discharge, because it's something you have to take them to court for, and they have to face the facts. If you're signing at the table when you do that refi, do it. I'm not going to say it's going to be guaranteed, because I've done it before. It wasn't guaranteed, but it's something that I can enforce with my accord and satisfaction counterparts. So,
right, as a backup, if they for some reason don't accept those signatures with that restrictive endorsement, quote unquote, on those forms. What does that language look like on those documents? I know it's like a 100-page packet, but they still have to take it technically by law, right? As you said in a previous video.
Technically by law. Well, they have to take it by law. I mean, they can't tell you how to sign. They're right. Let me see if I can find where we put it on the site. Yeah, so if you go into specialty courses, go to reassigning mortgages. Go to reassigning mortgages, and you'll see that video with all the laws that I went over and how to fill it out on the front and the back.
Okay, awesome.
Top of my head, I call it, but it's in there for sure.
Okay, yeah, there's obviously so much information, and I went through every single video, but it's hard to organize so much information, which obviously we all appreciate. And then I'm trying to transfer an accord and satisfaction. I'm trying to transfer a rental property into a land trust, because we're not going to keep it long term. It's a property in Oakland, and I heard you. Obviously, we touched on land trust a little bit today, and I originally thought it was, when you just touched on it in passing through the Q&As, that it was a template that that you could find, like you mentioned, online somewhere, and then you just file it in the county with where that property is located, and you just put that through. Put that under any entity, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I have one that I use. I'll put it up. Make a note to myself right now. I'll put it up, and you can compare it to other things out there.
Okay, yeah, that would be truly appreciated. And so you were talking about the entity, so I could technically put my unincorporated association on the land trust. You actually prefer it that way?
One more time.
You would prefer that I put, like, for example, my unincorporated association underneath the land trust, and not myself as my all caps.
Yes, any entity you want. Yeah.
Okay, and it doesn't have to, I think you mentioned this earlier, it does not have to be reassigned to the trust.
It does not.
Okay. Perfect. That's all I got, Avery. I appreciate everything you do.
Awesome. All right. No problem. My pleasure. All right. Take one more here before we got 4 minutes. Gonna go to James Saunders. Any questions you have pertaining to the course?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, man?
Boys, man, I know a lot of stuff going on in the world, a lot of stuff going on with what we're doing, a lot of roadblocks they're trying to erect to keep us from even being able to finalize these things that we're working on. And I greatly appreciate, on behalf of everybody else, your diligence. And when you crack the code on, when they try to set up new roadblocks. So thank you for that.
I appreciate everybody as well. And oh man, they do have roadblocks in different states. We'll end up having like a 3-month spell of trial and error to get it right. And then once we get it right, we share it. And then I'm glad to hear that everybody else is utilizing that remedy, and they're getting it done too. So it is a team effort, whether private client or whether an actual student. It's a team effort.
So in light of that, the whole trust process, I believe you guys, it's basically a waiting game, right? You have already submitted everything to Seminole County for my express trust, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure like I have to wait for that before we can move forward with the setting up the trust enterprise and all that. Cause I do online sales of like eBay and all that. I haven't had anybody really send me anything from the I.R.S. or local taxes or anything, and I really don't want to speak it into existence. But I was just basically waiting to see what's going on with the trust packet before I move forward, to the next tier of getting out of this, crazy deranged system that they have us in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going around. Let me ask you this, because I think this question would be good for other listeners.
Mm-hmm.
You're a self-employed business, and eventually we'll have that trust enterprise account opened for those monies. From that business, on a percentage wise, how much of a percent would you say has to be paid directly to you outside of the business?
I don't really have it set up that way right now. I'm just, it's just like, if I was an employee, but instead, I'm working for myself, just selling stuff online, and eBay takes fees and all that. And that was another thing that I was trying to figure out what to do about, but I think it would terminate my business with them is eBay has restructured their whole system in good ways and in bad ways and in really shisty ways. And now if you fall below their seller performance metrics or whatever, now they have instituted an additional fee if you're below their seller performance. So I've been dealing with that crap. But I mean, the good thing is I don't pay anything for the stuff. Like I said, I'm a go between me and businesses, whether they throw it out or they're getting rid of it or what have you. So, that's the good thing. I'm having like a 400% profit margin because I'm not paying anything for the stuff. But it's still frustrating.
I hear you. The joys of being a merchant, I understand that. Yeah, so what we're going to do is just allow good old Grant Malloy, he's the circuit court clerk, to go ahead and finish up your recording in Seminole. And that's all of the affidavits, that's all of the trustee minutes. And once that's done, we're going to move forward with your registry with Florida. That's usually called the UCC1, and reflect all of that. And then that's when we're moving forward with your passport and moving forward with your bank account for that. And nothing's really going to change much for the bank account. It's still going to feel and seem the same because it is a personal trust account. But the thing is, slight difference that you have an advantage over all of the other accounts with the bank is that yours is protected under the laws of TEFRA. All right. And we actually want that. Now, moving forward, I've taught the personal trust account accumulation or acquisition. Everybody needs to have that. And so far, everybody has gotten it so far. The next phase is the business trust account, right? Most people are transitioning from being a W-2 wage earner to a self-employed business earner. And now we have to have a business trust account. That's going to take some training, and you have to know it well because you're going to definitely train top tier bankers on how to do that. Go to the bank and ask them, can I open up a business account? It's a trust account where the trust has a trustee that is an LLC or a corporation, and watch them pause. They're going to have to call upper management to figure out if they even do it. This is the information that they keep at the top tier levels. But yes, you can do it. All right. So that's where you want to be ultimately if you have a business. That's why I asked that question. What is your percentages? And when you have that and you take a look at your percentages, you'll absolutely know why I had you do that when you look at the business trust account perspective. And that's coming soon. So
okay. And I know due to the fiasco of what happened with Patreon, I haven't even been able to sign up for the new site yet. I do apologize. It's one of the things, with everything that's going on financially, I've been trying to, knock out this duck, get this duck done, get all my ducks in a row, so to speak. And that's one of the things I've been trying to get to, is set up, a subscription or membership with your new site. And also, I heard one of the gentlemen earlier, and I'm wondering if I should do this too. I took heed to what you said about recording a I don't know what 501, all that stuff is, 501c or whatever, because I don't know if you have to have a nonprofit or whatever, but I might be coming into a couple properties pretty soon. And I'm wondering if that's something that I definitely want to do, is record something in Delaware, as you suggested, in regards to having my properties under my express trust.
Well, I tell you what, you can imagine an investor having all of these properties, millions of dollars in equity, and all of a sudden he goes into partnership with someone, and that person decided to put their name on all the properties that you partner with. This is hypothetically speaking. Okay. And then all of a sudden, that person has done something in the past, and now a tax is coming after him. And guess what? That means it's coming after the properties because he was easily found, and that person is attached to you. So knowing that that is a real thing, and that can happen, I never, ever, ever want to put it into my name or even an LLC directly. I would much rather it be in the trust, where an even further tax exempt entity, according to their simple records, is attached to it. That's going to give me an extra veil, an extra layer of protection. It's going to take an actual court order for them to find out who's who. So, and besides, when you look at it from the top of the pyramid, Express Trust is at the top, I'm the settler. I just gifted the assets to the property. Down below, I have a foreign trustee, not connected to the United States in any way. And then they're going to probably say, okay, well, who's the beneficiaries? Maybe we can figure it out that way. Nope. Beneficiary is the trust itself. And I have the opportunity to tell my trustee, I want you to give James 25% in this property, but don't list his name on the trust certificate unit. List his birth certificate number. That's even more protection. And then down below that, I have the express trust create a trust enterprise, and I have that trust enterprise hire the 501c3 corporation based out of Delaware. There is no way they're going to link all of that back to the settler. You see that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering because you said it's so that's like the most securest place to record it because they'll basically have to go through a hell in a handbasket just to investigate it.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Move on to the next easiest fish in the sea. And that's what they do.
The other question I have is when moving forward with your new process of the I.R.S. injunction and what have you, my biggest thing was, does that send out a beacon to not only state and federal, but it will also bounce to like local municipalities to let them know that you have filed that injunction towards tax exemptness and all that too?
No, it won't. You have to actually give them a copy of it if they come after you. So that's why I suggest if you were to utilize a 501c3, then you could simply just use your 1023 I.R.S. forms that you got from the I.R.S. and then go down to the state level and apply for a sales tax exemption certificate. That certificate can easily be given to the local municipality. They just require a copy of it, and then they won't charge you local taxes.
Yeah, because my issue, I rent in an office building and all that, but I know that when you file that injunction, like that's they don't want to mess with an injunction. I know that. So, but that's why I was asking, because I know it gets complicated with me being in an office building. Besides me if I get properties. So that's why I was asking.
Okay.
I think that they start sending out quarterlies once you have actually filed an income tax, whatever. And I didn't do taxes last year or this year or whatever. I haven't done it because obviously everything that's going on, like I'm trying to catch up on other things, that's it. That's even standard wise. We know that even when you do regular taxes, before even knowing about these processes and express trust and all that, generally the rule of thumb was like you can go a couple of years without filing anyway. So it's, that's what I kind of figured. I'm just focused on other things right now, Avery.
Well, that's good to hear. Stay focused, man. Stay focused. All right, you guys, that's the time that we got for today. This was recorded.
Is it cool if I touch on one thing in the chat?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Valencia Botchman is asking about the accord to satisfaction process. Just a little bit of what I went through. She says, do the checks have to be mailed or can they be deposited at the bank itself? My mortgage is with Wells Fargo, and I have paid the bank at the teller and I've gotten receipts. Does this count? Yes, it does count, but you want to make sure that you're making copies of the money orders that you have either sent in, like mailed in, or that you've walked in yourself. Because they're going to do the same exact thing. It's just keeping a record of what you do. So if the day comes when you have to bring those receipts out, you just be ready with those pictures that you've taken of the money orders.
Yeah, so you got to have proof. Yeah, good answer. Good answer. All right. I know we have a few more, but we'll save those for next time. That's going to be it. for today's class. Great questions asked today. I appreciate it. I think I've got to everybody at least once. We'll go ahead and continue on the next first Saturday of August, and we'll get back into it. So I'll see you guys in the comment section in the chat.